Welcome to Candlewick Library. I'm Cheryl, and it has been a while. It's been a few weeks since I had a video up, but now I'm back, and today I'm sharing my TBR for Epistolary January. I am a co-host of this awesome readathon that Anne from In Search of Wonder came up with, and I am really excited for it. In January, I really like to return to comfort read, just read things that are very cozy, and start off the year with something that really makes me feel good. And I love epistolary novels. I know that I hear both sides of that argument. I hear people that love them like I do, and I hear people that hate them, but I have always really enjoyed them. So I am very excited to read these books. Some are going to be rereads of favorites that I've wanted to reread for a while, and others are going to be books I haven't read yet. I'll also share a couple of other books that I'll be reading for January that are not going to be part of Epistolary January, but will be part of my TBR. So with Epistolary January, the first prompt is love letters, and this would be an epistolary romance. And for that, I'm choosing to reread one of my very favorite books, The Guernsey Literary and Potato Pill Pie Society by Mary Ann Schaffer and Annie Barrows. I've talked about this book a lot on here. It is such a good book. I put off reading this for a very long time because I thought the title made it sound kind of stupid. And then I immediately fell in love with it. I loved the whole reading experience. And they've made an adaptation that you can watch, I believe it's on Netflix. And it is a really, really good adaptation. Love this book. Been wanting to get back to it for quite a while. Lost Smell, it would be a classic or a book by an author that is no longer with us. I'm also going to be doing a reread of Area 84 Charing Cross Road by Helene Hamp. I don't know if that's how you pronounce her name. I can't remember, but it's been a really long time since I've read this. I love this book. I love the dynamic between her. She's writing letters to a bookstore in England, and they become pen pals and end up sending each other things. And I just love the relationships that are built through the letters. When my mom and I went to England in 2016, we went to Charing Cross Road. I wanted to find this bookstore, or at least where it had been. Unfortunately, it is now a McDonald's, which made me kind of sad. But I am very excited to revisit this book. The third prompt is Free Shipping, a book that was free. And this book, Dear Mrs. Bird by A.J. Pierce, I got as a Christmas present last year, 2023. So I have not got to this yet, and I don't even think I realized it was an epistolary book, but I saw it on somebody's list and thought, oh, that's perfect. I can finally get to that book. And it was free since it was a gift from my aunt. The next one is Correspondence, a book with letters between anybody, fictional or not. And for that, I'm going to be reading The Berlin Letters by Catherine Rea. The first book I read by her was The Printed Letter Bookshop. And once I read that, I loved it so much that I kept buying her books and reading them. But this is one I had not got to yet. And so it's been a while since I've read a book by her. This one sounds really good. It is a tale of the Cold War and a CIA codebreaker who risks everything to free her father from an East German prison. For Airmail, it is a book set in a foreign country. And for this, I don't have it yet, but I'm going to be reading The Lost Memoirs of Jane Austen. That is one of the two possible January picks for Anne and Charlene's birthday celebration that's all year long for Jane Austen's 250th birthday. And I thought that sounded good, so I'm going to go ahead and read that one since it's Jane Austen. It'll be in a foreign country. And then the next one is Package, a book that is longer than 400 pages. And I have to blame Molly for this. She read Dracul by Dacra Stoker and J.D. Barker. And this says it is 1868 and a 21-year-old Bram Stoker waits in a desolate tower to face an indescribable evil. Armed only with crucifixes, holy water, and a rifle, he prays to survive a single night, the longest of his life. Desperate to record what he witnessed, Bram scribbles down the events that led him here. So it sounds like it's supposed to be like an origin story of Dracula, but that they found the notes from Bram Stoker, and one of the writers is related to him. So she enjoyed it, and it sounded so good, and I love Dracula. So I was very interested in this book, and it is epistolary just like Dracula is. So I'm going to give it a go. The next one is Journal, a book that contains journal entries, and I'm going to be reading The Unselected Journals of Emma M. Lyon, Volume 1. I've been hearing about these books for so long, and I finally got the first one for Christmas. It says the year is 1883, and Emma M. Lyon has returned to her London neighborhood of St. Crispian's. But Emma's plans for a charmed and studious life are sabotaged by her eccentric cousin Archibald, her formidable Aunt Eugenia, and the slightly odd denizens of St. Crispian's. And then for email, it is a contemporary that is texts or emails. And for this, I'm actually going to reread Attachments by Rainbow Rowell. I've always really liked her writing style, but her books are hit and miss for me. It's been a very long time since I've read any of them, and this was the one I liked the most. And this is through emails, and a guy that his job is to kind of watch the emails of the workers at the business and make sure that they're staying on task and all of that. And he becomes, I think, kind of obsessed with one of the people that he is reading her emails. And so it doesn't sound like something I would enjoy now, but I do remember really liking it. And so I want to reread it to see if it's something I want to keep or not. So that covers all of the prompts, but I do have a pile of epistolary books that I will get to if I have time and want to. And that would be a reread of Daddy Longlegs by Jean Webster. It's been a long time since I've read this book, and I do remember really enjoying it. It's a girl that goes off to college, and it is paid for by an anonymous man. And so it's the story of the letters that she writes to him. And if I do read that, then I might reread Dear Mr. Knightley, which is Catherine Rea's retelling of Daddy Longlegs. And so it has a lot of the same premise. And I do remember liking this as well. It wasn't my very favorite book by her, but I did enjoy it. So I think it would be kind of fun to read them back to back, but I don't know if I'll get to that. Another reread that I might read, especially if I'm reading attachments and I don't like it and DNF it or something, then I will change it to Authentically Izzy for the email. But I'm hoping that I will like it enough to at least finish it. But this one is, out of the 3 books in the series, this one was my favorite, and I really would like to reread it. So I will try to get to this one. And then 2 books that I haven't read yet that are epistolary: The Blackout Book Club by Amy Lynn Green. In 1942, an impulsive promise to her brother before he goes off to the European front puts Avis Montgomery in the unlikely position of head librarian in a small town, Maine. Though she has never been much of a reader, when wartime needs threaten to close a library, she invents a book club to keep its doors open. The women she convinces to attend the first meeting couldn't be more different: a wealthy spinster determined to aid the war effort, an exhausted mother looking for a fresh start, and a determined young war worker. I wouldn't have thought of this as an epistolary book, but as I was flipping through it, I saw that there are book club notes throughout the whole thing. After each chapter, or every couple of chapters, you'll get the book club notes. So I thought that kind of counts. So I may get to that if I can. The one I probably won't get to, but I want to have it on my shelf just in case, is The Moonstone by Wilkie Collins. This is a very long book, and that is why I probably won't get to it. I have 2 other books to read in January that are not part of Epistolary January, at least I don't think they are. And those are, I will be rereading Anne of Green Gables by Lucy Montgomery for Chantel's Anne of Green Gables read along, and I'll talk more about that in my goals video. And then for my Inklings literary group with my mom, we'll be reading The Fifth Avenue Story Society by Rachel Hauck during January. And this is one I'm really excited about. I love the cover. I've heard really good things about it. So those 2 I will for sure be getting to, along with the original epistolary books. And then after that, the other epistolaries will be sitting there waiting if I read more than that. I would love to hear, if you're taking part in Epistolary January, what you're most excited for, if you've read any of these books, and what you're excited to read in January. Do you save something really special to start the year off with, or do you just read whatever is next on your pile?